All right, folks, here we are for another episode of Off the Grid. I wanted to welcome my next guest. He is an amazing producer based out of the UK. Wanted to welcome my man Kuartz to the show. How are you, brother?
Yo, I'm good, bro. Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a minute. It's been a long time coming, this one. I know we tried to get it hooked up a couple of months ago, but
Yeah,
yeah, finally made it happen, bro.
I know, man. And I apologize too, man. I had some car problems that day and just couldn't get back in time, but I'm glad we laced it up, man.
It's all good. We're here now, brother. We're here now, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, let's start with just a quick introduction of yourself. Can you tell me where you were born and then where exactly in the UK you live these days and how long you've been making music?
So I grew up in I mean, we call it a village, but it's not really a village, but it is a village. It's a bit of a weird one, but yeah, I grew up in a small village called Shaw, which is 10 minutes north of Oldham, which is about 40 minutes north of Manchester, which is like the main city. That's my local city, which is, where I claim that I'm from. That's the city that I'm claiming. And music wise, I've just always been a mad music lover, but started really getting into actually making music probably at the age of 13. I started playing
Okay.
guitar and stuff
Wow.
and was playing in cover bands while I was at school.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I was mad deep into like Nirvana and alt rock and classic rock and Jimi Hendrix, anything guitar based
Yeah.
basically I was mad into. But yeah, and then went on to college and studied music technology,
Oh, damn.
met a bunch of guys there that were like maybe pushing 9 years older than me. So I'd be like 16 at the time or something like that. And yeah, started hanging out. They were in a band already and they needed a guitarist. So I started hanging out with them and they
Dude.
started introducing me into all kinds of music and started taking me out in the city and stuff and experiencing hip hop, like proper club night, hip hop nights. And yeah, it
Oh.
just, that was like the early days, my bread and butter, a lot of learning, a lot of moving around, a lot of meeting different people. Yeah.
Hey, what were your parents playing back in the day? What was your first exposure to music? What were they listening to? Was it rock also?
Not necessarily. I think more the Nirvana and the rock side came from my older sister. I have two sisters.
Uh,
The youngest of my two older sisters. She was mad deep in like Nirvana and typical Manchester music like Oasis and the Stone Roses and stuff like
yeah.
that. But parents, my dad was like super eclectic, bro. Like he would listen to classical and jazz and reggae. Like he moved to Manchester in the 70s for university and he went to see Bob Marley live in like
What?
1972 and stuff. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, his taste was super eclectic, and then my mum was like pretty typical of for like a woman of the area. She'd listen to like Motown and soul and stuff
Yeah.
like and Northern soul and that all that kind of that kind of stuff really.
Yeah. Yeah. Outside of rap and hip hop, what other genres do you listen to this day?
Everything
I'm,
like
I'm a,
once upon a time, if I ever got that question, I would say, oh, everything except for country and western. But even country and western now, bro,
yeah.
like I'm listening to Glenn Campbell in the morning. Do you know what I mean? On the way to work and
Nice,
stuff. Oh yeah,
dude.
yeah. But on the whole, I think if I had to choose a genre, it's like the soul music of the '60s and the '70s,
Yeah.
bro. That's where my heart lies, really.
Yeah.
But being a producer and stuff and
Gotta be
digging
open.
through the crates and stuff, you've got to be into everything. And you get
Yeah.
exposed to so much different stuff through digging in crates as well.
Yeah.
So if it I try and say there's only really two types of music. There's music you like and music you don't like.
Yeah. That's a good point, man.
Try and transcend sort of genres and subgenres.
Yeah, yeah, it's very obvious too in the way that you produce beats too, man. It's I can tell that you pull from everything. So, yeah, answer that I expected from you. That's great, man. I love that, dude. Yeah. Well, hey, man. At some point, you mentioned that you're running with cover bands, playing the guitar, and at some point you get exposed to hip hop. Do you recall the first instant when you were introduced to rap, and you remember who it was? Can you share that
Sure
experience?
do. I
Oh
remember it
man.
like it was yesterday. So like I was saying before, when I went to college to study music technology, I was aware of hip hop, I'd heard,
Mhm.
I heard hip hop on the radio, and a lot of my friends was into hip hop, but I was into guitar music and rock music and stuff. And I didn't hate hip hop. I just never really took the
Yeah.
time out of my day to listen to it. But when I started college, I met up with a guy called Enoch. Shout out to Enoch, who I still chat to this day. Still one of my favorite rappers in the UK that's never released anything, you know. And I'm like, yo, dude, you gotta release stuff. Like, he's ill, but that's a different story altogether. Um,
Man.
but yeah, Enoch, I met Enoch at college, and yeah, he just was like lending me. It was like, yo, you should listen to this. You should listen to this. And I think he probably one of the first CDs he lent me was Gangstar Owners. And I'm
Ah,
like,
man.
oh, the beats on that were crazy, bro. And it was, you know, literally a week after, you know, listening to that, that's when I started using DAWs and trying to make beats, bro.
Oh, crazy. Hey, and
Yeah.
so it wasn't rapping at all, man. It was straight. You just went straight into producing. Didn't try rapping at all. And then,
I have been known to rap. So yeah.
oh man, are there any Quartz tracks that exist?
If you dig deep enough on the internet, you will hear more than maybe 5 or 6 verses from me out there, bro.
Oh
Out
man,
there.
had
Yeah,
no
yeah, yeah.
clue. I gotta look it up. That's awesome. Well, hey man, you started making beats, and like what kind of equipment were you using at the first start?
I was just straight up onto like a computer or a laptop setup using
Okay.
it was a software called Reason. It's still about
Oh
today. People
yeah,
use it and
sure.
stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was just using Reason straight up for years, like from 2002 right up to maybe 2009 or something like that.
yeah.
Just
Hey,
early years of honing and learning how DAWs work, and yeah, just using Reason, bro.
yeah. Were you in high school when that happened, or was that a little bit past the
So
university
it's
days?
yeah, so it's a bit so from what we call college, you call high school, and what we call
Oh,
university, you guys call college. So yeah, so from the age of 16 to 18, we go to college,
oh
and after
man.
that, after that, then we 18 to whatever, however long your university degree lasts is like university.
Oh man, that's good to know. I had no clue. Oh man. Well, hey man, that's great, man. And what? Hey, so nowadays, man, I mean, your beats are super complex. What kind of equipment are you using? I know you use a bunch of cool stuff.
So yeah, I mean, like after Reason, I made the jump to Ableton around 2008, 2009, and just never
Okay.
looked back. And then just started incorporating different bits of kit into that. You know, I use a lot of MIDI control. I've used a lot of MIDI controllers throughout the years, different Akai pieces of kit for the finger drumming
Yeah.
and stuff. You know, I'm quite fortunate that, you know, a few close friends of mine are, you know, serious sort of like collectors of because they make music but they don't release anything, but you know they have insane setups, like
Oh
crazy,
man.
like dudes like have got you know 5 Moogs around the room, or Moogs even, and you know different bits of hardware sims and reel-to-reel tape machines and drum machines. So you know
Yeah.
I'm quite fortunate that you know I get to you know get involved with that, and I'm allowed to you know maybe borrow a few pieces every now and again and bring it home and stuff. But yeah,
Nice.
like yeah, but on the whole, just mainly Ableton, and I think 2 years, no, maybe just over a year and a half ago now, I bought the Roland SP404 SX just for live shows, bro. Because after we started working on it, like packing down on my gear to take it down into the city to set it
Oh
up in the city to pack it down again and to bring
yeah.
it home and you know going out doing shows and stuff. It's like I just need one box
Yeah.
that I can throw in a backpack, go do the show, come back home. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been using that a lot recently, but yeah, it's only over the last couple of months I've started incorporating that piece of equipment into the actual production, not just using it
Yeah.
live, actually using it in the production. And
Wow.
yeah, it's a super dope little bit of kit.
Yeah, and yo, man, and I love the way that you program drums. And so when you told me you were in a cover band, I thought that you were gonna say that you were a drummer at some point. Do you know how to play the drums? Like,
I,
or are you?
it's without no pun intended, without blowing my own trumpet. If you put a trumpet in my hands, I'll get a riff out of it. I'm that kind of guy, you know. I'm not necessarily like
Yeah,
technically minded when it comes to music theory and stuff. I know a little bit,
yeah,
but literally, if you put a trumpet in my hand, I'll get a lick out of it. I'll get a riff out of it.
man, that's wild, man. So, hey, man, I should have asked you earlier when you mentioned that you were in a cover band. Where were you performing at? Performing at like high school shows, or
High school shows,
yeah, okay.
friends' birthday parties, grandma, grandma's birthday party,
That's
uncle's
awesome.
birthday party. Yeah, we was trying to get anything that we could, but mostly high school shows. Yeah.
Okay, how fun, man. Did you do that in your university days too? Were you still doing that, or was that already
No, so I stopped playing
already
in
done?
bands, I think around 2004, 2005. So a couple of
Okay.
years before I went on to university. I had a little bit of a break between. So when I left college in 2004, I went in and just got a job and was working different jobs and stuff. And I didn't actually go to university till I was like 23 or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
hey man,
between
what's the story behind your name? So how did you decide that hey, I'm just gonna use Quartz as my producer name? That's always a typical thing to do, man. What do you decide you're gonna use as your name moving forward with music?
so linking back to before we was talking about the verses and I mentioned my friend Enoch. So
Yeah,
Enoch, when we was rolling together in around 2008, when I started university, I know that I met another guy when I went to university called 2-1. And then I met a whole bunch of people through Enoch that he was rolling with. And one of the guys, Torai, is been writing this graphic novel since 2000, well, maybe before 2008, and he's still working on it and stuff. And he bases all the characters on his friends. And after meeting him and we became friends, he incorporated me into the story, and my character was called Quartz, so my name was given to me. And yeah, basically the name Quartz is obviously it's spelled Kuartz, but it's a play on the actual quartz crystal, and quartz crystals are like a
right.
heavy sort of like part of my character's abilities and stuff like
Oh
that. Yeah, it's
man,
deep, bro. It's deep. We
yeah.
could do a whole other podcast about that kind of stuff, but
Holy
yeah, it's
cow,
deep,
man.
bro.
Yeah, and who does all the art for you, man? Like, are you a graphic artist too, or
I've always wanted to be able to draw and paint and stuff,
yeah?
but no, no, I can't.
Okay,
Like I've been using Mid-Journey a lot and stuff, and
okay,
I know it's hated on heavily by graphic artists, graphic designers, and
hey,
artists and stuff. But I dabble in it and I like it. And for
yeah,
someone that's always wanted to be able to draw and paint and do graphic design, it's
yeah,
like it's ideal, because there's stuff that's in here that I can't get out using my hands. But if I can use an AI prompt or something like that to get whatever's got, what's in here out onto it, actually
dude,
you
it's
can look at.
amazing, man. Yeah, no, I love the artwork that you use for your products too. So yeah, I'm not familiar with Midjourney. I'll have to look into it, man. No, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, those programs just make it simple in terms of like, hey, give them the vision, and then they put something together, and then you take care of all the formatting. Then once you get the graphic,
Yeah, yeah. So I
okay,
like a lot of the times I'll put it into Photoshop and I can use Photoshop a little bit and with for fonts and text and stuff like that.
yeah.
And a little bit of editing and stuff, I'll throw it in there and try and tweak it as much as I can. But yeah.
Oh
I'm
man, that's
trying,
great.
bro. I'm trying. I wish I could draw so much and I wish I could paint. Like I'm a huge Bob Ross fan and I've tried like oil painting and stuff, but I just
Yeah.
it's not there.
Yeah, but hey, surely somebody had to have drawn the MF Quartz logo, man, right? Who was
That's
that?
so that's my boy Biddle down he's down
Dude.
in the south of England. Yeah. So yeah, he's a proper artist. He will hand draw and then scan into the computer and then he will redraw inside Illustrator and stuff. He's a really good illustrator.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Shout out to
glad
Biddle.
you guys did the picture vinyl, man. I had to cop that. That was so cool. Yeah, so yeah, that was a great piece to you.
And a lot of the other artwork that I've had done is like my cousin's done a lot, and then also Torai, who I mentioned before, he's working on his graphic novel. He does a lot of illustrating and hand drawn stuff. He's done a lot of artwork for me in the past. So he did like the Combat Ninjas artwork. He
Oh,
did that.
right.
He did the little samurai soul, the little samurai character. He did that as well.
Very cool, man. Well, hey, man, how are you enjoying the hip hop scene in your area, man? I know you're a big part of it, and you guys throw your show, man. Is it did you do it because you felt like you needed something there, or is it already just quite live and a lot of stuff going on?
The hip hop scene in Manchester has been a live scene since I can remember, since I started
Yeah,
going, out in Manchester and stuff. There was a label back in the day called Grand Central Records who used to throw parties all the time.
yeah,
But it seems to come in waves. Like there'll be like loads going on, and then there'll be a little bit of dip in the wave, and there won't be much going on for a little while, and then new people come through and it'll rise again. But the reason we started working on it, the Beatmakers Social, I just got back from Canada, and
Oh, okay.
my friend who owns the hip hop chip shop, who I've known for like over a decade now, Ozzy, shout out to Ozzy, booked me to come in and do that. And this is like just after like lockdown, and COVID had happened and everything, and
Yeah,
hospitality industry was really suffering. And he asked me to come down and if I could do a DJ set in the hip hop chip shop. And we were talking and stuff, and he was like, I'm just looking for ideas to get people back through the doors. We've been really struggling through COVID,
yeah,
it's been a real struggle. And I was like, well, the beat scene online is booming right now, and the tech companies, they can't turn out the models quick enough and stuff. Somebody needs to start like a beat makers event. And he was like, oh,
yeah.
would you do it? And I was like, oh dude, like I haven't got time, man. And
Oh man.
actually and the same night was the first time I met Lone Apostrophe as well. He came down to watch me DJ.
Oh,
We talked online a
dude, that's
lot.
crazy.
So he came down to watch me DJ, and then like the next day, he'd never been to the hip hop chip shop before, and he was like, "Yo, it's really cool in there. Someone needs to start a beat makers event." And I was like, "Oh, okay, so that's two now. So like, okay, we got to do it, but you've got to be the host, and I'll deal with booking people and
Okay,
word out there and designing the flyers and all that kind of stuff." And we started in November 2021, and it just hit the ground running, bro. It was
dude.
insane the amount of interest we had in it, and it's just grown ever since. And it's become such a really nice, friendly, social event where people
Yeah,
that make beats in the bedroom. And it's funny because beat makers can be very introverted, but when you
yeah,
put those
that's a good point.
introverts in a room full of like-minded people, how extroverted those people become when they're amongst their own, and you see them all start syncing up and like, you're like me, and yo, we need to collab. And it just, yeah, it's been crazy dope, bro.
Dude. Hey, so that's crazy to think that you were hesitant about doing it first, and you're like, I don't know, and then, dude, it took off, man.
Yeah, it just hit the ground running, bro.
Yeah. So I noticed that sometimes you guys have MCs perform, but it's mostly for beat makers to showcase their music, play live, and network. Is that the kind of the theme that you guys maintain?
Yeah, that's the core of what it's about. It's a space where, regardless of your level, like we didn't want to be gatekeepers or anything like that. Like
Yeah. Oh, that's great,
we've had guys come down with a USB stick, and we've plugged the USB stick into a
dude.
laptop and played their beats, just so they can hear their beats loud and get feedback from other people. And then, at the other end of the scale, we've had people come down and absolutely tear down the building with a full synthesizer setup,
Wow.
so it's been crazy. But yeah, but of course, where there's beats, there's MCs.
Always, man.
So
Always.
word gets out that there's this beat event going on, and the MC start turning up. Yo, I need that beat. Yo, I need to link with you. I need to get in the studio. And it
A
just
beat
grew and grew
market.
and grew like that. And yeah, so to show the MCs a little bit of love, we let them jump on and cipher, when
Ah, that's
when
great.
we can and stuff. And it's cool, man. It's cool. But yeah, at the core of it, it's an instrumental. People getting out of their bedrooms, getting out of their studios, and coming,
Yo.
playing and meeting like-minded people.
You brought up a good point, man. And y'all didn't want to become gatekeepers, man. And there's a lot of that happens around. So I really love that, man. And it doesn't matter what level you were at, just as long as you're doing it, making music and you're being creative, man. That's awesome that you created a safe space like that. Because I've seen that oftentimes. You go to cities, man, and there are gatekeepers, right? Hey, to get a show, you got to go to him, and yeah, man, I've heard people, they complain and it's too tough to break in. So, I mean, I think that's great. Do they just email you and then they sign up, and then you get whoever you can in terms of like max capacity?
Yeah, pretty much, bro. We just, yeah, we like
Fantastic,
the
man.
inbox, gets loaded on. Well, it's mostly through Instagram DMs.
Yeah,
The inbox just gets loaded up, and we literally got to the point after we did the first year that
yeah,
come, I think it was we started in November 2021. So come January 2022, it was like we had booked out the whole of 2022
amazing,
because there was that many people that wanted to come,
amazing.
and we just booked it all the whole year out in one swoop and planned the whole year in January.
Yeah, is it in the same place, the location?
Yeah, so we do it
Oh,
at
dude. That's
Yeah, we
freaking
do it.
cool.
So we do it at the Hip Hop Chip Shop, which is in Ancoats in Manchester. We've
Okay.
done a couple of other external events to that dotted around, and we've done supports. So we opened up for Large Professor back in like
I
March.
know. I was about to ask you that.
Um, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We opened up for Large Professor. We've done a couple of bits down at a place called Side Street Studio, which is like a really nice big open space with loads of mid-century modern furniture and nice couches. But that's a place we tried to do like workshops and stuff, like,
Yeah.
tutorials, and we're going to
Oh
try and get
man.
to the rhythm roulette game down there, live rhythm roulettes and all that kind of stuff.
That's so cool, man.
And then this Friday coming, actually, me and Lone Apostrophe are going to a record store. Homeboy Sandman, we're going to open up for Homeboy Sandman
Ah,
in a small
jeez.
record shop. So it's like it's we're getting these little bits of support slots and stuff now. So a chance to go out and showcase working on it at other places and stuff.
Yeah, that's great, man. I just love the networking that it creates, man. So I had no idea that you only met Lone Apostrophe through the show, man, or the showcase that you do. And I know you guys are good friends now. And have you guys like produced any projects together, or just is it mostly focused on the show?
Yeah, no, we're just so busy. Like,
Yeah,
it's-
I
I'm
imagine.
I'm just struggling collabing with people. Period. At the
Yeah,
moment,
yeah,
like me and you do stuff, but that's great because you're the ideal person where I can just fire stuff over to, and you go
yeah,
away and do your thing on it. Whereas actually trying to physically get in a room with someone to collab,
yeah,
it's tough for me at the moment. Like,
yeah.
I moved house recently. I just started a new job.
Yep.
So yeah, everything's just hectic. And then working on it at the same time, it's just been hectic, bro.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Family dude, and I was amazed, man. I mean, as prolific as you are, and then with the showcase that you guys do, man, that's great, man. Yeah, you stay busy for sure. And I mean, you got a couple other people that you work with. You want to talk about the other artists that you've worked with too, locally as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah, I mean, through doing working on it, there's a couple of people that I've met that I didn't even know existed. Like this, I'm going to shout out two guys in particular.
Yep.
So Check and Dooku, who go by the name of 01706 Doggers. Now, 01706 is an area code. That's the area code where I grew up, bro. So
Ah.
I'd never heard of these dudes, and they came down to working on it and tore it down. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
down. And I
Oh
was
man.
and I was like, you dudes are from 01706. You're from Rochdale, aren't you? And they were like, yeah. I was like, no way. So then there's another kid that comes to, I say kid, he's in his 30s, but he's young enough people to call him kid,
Nice.
who's become a really good friend of mine, Rocks. Grew up in the same village as me, bro. Never met him before. Do you know what
Oh
I
my
mean?
God.
Started coming down to working on it and stuff. Dude's killing it, and it's so me, Rocks, PK Roscoe, Devon Trey, and Batfunk are what is Lords of the North, and we all work together. So that's primarily, if I do get chance to collab, that's the kind of collabs I go and do. And from
Oh
that, we
damn.
formed Lords of the North.
Dude, man, that's amazing, man. So you met them through your show also, right?
PK I've known for years, and Devon Trey I've known for years. We've done stuff,
Yeah,
going back as far as 2012. But yeah, in terms of like, people that I've met through working on it, we've formed a
that's
whole super
fantastic.
group, like two producers, me and Rox, and then three of the MCs that have been coming through working on it have formed like a little super group, and we
Uh,
opened up for Far Side and Lords of the Underground at the Ritz.
oh
It's a big
man.
deal, it's like a 1,500 capacity crowd and
Oh
stuff.
my
Yeah,
God.
my legs went to jelly a little bit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That was a
Ha,
lot of people to be stood in front of.
dude, that's hey. So are you a DJ also? By
So with the MCs that I work with, I'll be there back in DJ if I can get out and do the show with them and stuff. Yeah, but
no
yeah, I
kidding.
DJ, bro. Yeah, I'll do DJ sets. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Oh man, had no clue, man. You're super talented. So you rap, produce, and you DJ, man. And man, that's crazy, man. So yeah, super talented. But I'm not surprised, man. Well, hey, man. So I've known you, as a producer. That was my first exposure to you, man. And just I know you did a lot of stuff with AA. I had an accident. The record label based out on the West Coast. How was that connection made, man? How did you go through them when you started getting your products pushed out through them?
That's a good question, bro. I can't actually remember how I linked up with Damien from IHAA.
Uh-huh.
I think it might have just been a case of we might have just started chatting through Instagram and stuff.
Wow.
To be honest with you, yeah, I think we started following each other on Instagram, and then yeah, next thing you know, we were talking about dropping stuff on it on that label. Like,
That's awesome, man.
yeah, Instagram has like been such a great tool for me from like 2017. It's been literally how I've linked every label that I've ever put anything out of, from
Right.
77 Rise, doing the cassettes through them back in 2016,
Yeah.
right through to Village Live that are based here in the UK. They found me through Instagram, right through to Jade Palace Guard that are based out in New York,
Man.
with them through Instagram. Pretty much, yeah. Every label that I've done something through, bro, has been a link through Instagram.
Yeah, man, I noticed it. You're never short of labels trying to push your products out, and just always somebody willing to do it, man. That's great, man. And I know you got a great fan base too as well. And I mean, the music is amazing and speaks for itself. But yeah, man, how do you go about deciding on which label puts out what product? Is it just first come first serve, or do you?
It really depends on the vibe of the project. I mean, if you listen
Mm,
to my beat tapes, they're always on some sort of concept vibe, like
yeah,
whether
good
it's
point.
Samurai Soul, or if it's Combat Ninjas. There's always some sort of like running theme in the background, like a concept type of thing. And depending on that, I try
Yeah,
and figure out, which label would this go out on best of. And sometimes that label, they might have a long waiting list, and I can't get it out through that label. So then
yeah,
might have a second choice and go through that label. But
that's true.
just I always just try and be honest with people. It's like, well, if
Yeah,
you're not gonna, if you can't put it out, then I'm gonna have to go, and take it somewhere else, and just make sure everybody's, keep it all above board and everything, and make sure that you're not stepping on anybody's toes, and
yeah.
just maintain good relationships. Because at
No,
the
that's
end
a
of the
good
day,
point.
these people have become friends. Do you know what I mean? They're not, I
Yeah.
don't see them as like labels anymore. It's like friends that are willing to put out my music on physical format.
Yeah, that's a good point, man, too. And I heard you say during the interview pretty consistently that, hey, man, you got to put your stuff out. And you've got friends who, make awesome music and never put stuff out. And so, how long is an acceptable time to sit on a project that you have? Or are you okay with sitting on a project before releasing it for a year? Or you got to get it out quick?
Yeah, I gotta get it out, bro. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I gotta get it
hell
out.
yeah.
And usually even by the time it's come out, I'm like, yeah, on
Yeah,
to
you're
the next
done with
thing.
it,
I don't want
right?
to hear that anymore. I don't want to hear that anymore. Because
That's how I am too.
it's crazy for beat makers, because when you make something from you making the beat from scratch, you've heard it 1,000 times before it's
Sure.
even been mixed and mastered, and then you've heard it another 1,000 times after it's been mixed and mastered, and then while you're waiting for it to come out, you've heard it another
Yeah.
1,000 times. So by the time it comes out, you're like, oh, I'm
That's right.
done.
And the
Let's get
wait
on.
for vinyl too, right? It's like months. So you're like, on to the next
Yeah,
project.
yeah.
Yeah. That's funny, man. That's a great point, man. So, but yeah, hey, you mentioned yep, that your stuff is very thematic, and so and I want to talk about a couple of your albums, but when was your first official release in terms of like projects wise? When did you first put out your first original beat tape?
So first beat tape on cassette, physical format through a label,
Hmm.
20, I want to say 2015, 2016,
Okay.
through a label that was based here in the UK called Brain Food Records. I think it was like a 60-minute tape of about maybe 25 beats or something like that. Again, just running concept through, loads of like little skits and movie samples in between the beats. I was like, if any beat maker that's listened to Madlib and has gone through that addicted to Madlib phase, they're gonna go, and start throwing all those little, little skits and comedy skits in there, and the movie samples in between beats. And you tag on the hidden beat as well at the, a little bit, maybe 5 or 10 seconds of silence, and then
Yeah.
you put the hidden beat at the end, and just trying to craft something that was not just a loop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It had, something that like a little bit of a story to go with it, and so it flowed, and it wasn't just like loops after loop after loop, which can be dope. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But that's another style of beat tape. But yeah, so Brain Food was doing that kind of, they were putting that kind of stuff out, and
Man.
they actually reached out to me through Twitter of all places.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I think we did like maybe 50 tapes or something like that. Uh,
Wow.
and then that's how 77 Rise, because it was mad in 2016 was mad. It was like once I had that tape out, I had like Sunny Vintage out in California, hitting me up, yo, do you want to trade tapes? And there was a lot of that going on. Like, you
Yeah,
send me
that's
your
the
send me
best.
your kit, and there was a lot of trading stuff going on. And there was a really nice, vibrant scene back then, of
Yeah.
people putting out tapes, trading tapes, going to the beat tape swap meets and out in LA and stuff. And yeah, it was crazy, bro. And it just skyrocketed from there.
Yeah. Do you actually own every physical product that you've ever put out?
2 copies.
Amazing, man. That's great. Sometimes that becomes a hard feat, man, when you're putting out so much stuff. So that's
Yeah.
great, man. Great to
Two,
hear.
two, two copies of everything and at least one test pressing of each wax, anything that I've put out on wax.
Ah, very cool, man. My first exposure to you was your Shurikens album from 2017. I didn't hear it until years later, but that was I ran into it. I said, man, I gotta dig into this guy more, man. Just amazing beats, man. So do you recall the Shurikens and Kush Daru albums that you guys put out?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Like again, that was like so Shurikens came out, I think it was like April 2017.
Yeah,
Village Live. It was actually Doug Remulak who reached out for me from Village Live. I think I just put out Adventures with Kuartz on cassette on 77 Rise, and Doug had come across that. It was like every time I put something out, somebody new came across it or a new label came across it, and it was like,
yeah.
yo, we need you to do something. So yeah, 77 Rise was like, oh, that's a dope release. You should let us release it on wax. And I was like, nah, if we're doing wax, I'm doing something new because it'll be my first album on wax. So I'm
Right.
like,
Oh
yo,
man.
back to the lab and worked solid for a good couple of months and had a very clear idea of what I wanted it to sound like, what I wanted the album to look like, um, based a little bit on what they'd released previously. I was catering, do you know what I mean? A little bit, but
Yeah,
also
yeah.
enjoying what I was doing, not, just selling out just because it was the type of thing that I thought that should go out on that label. But it was like a sound that boom bap golden era sound that I'd
Yeah.
really done like fucked with too much before, bro, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The heavy sort of SP 1200 sound. And that's what I was trying to emulate. I was trying to do that in
Ah.
Ableton. I was trying to make something that sounded like it had been made on an SP 1200, but in Ableton.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. And so I thought too, I was like, man, I just love the soulfulness of the albums. And so it's funny that you mentioned that you try to emulate the 90s boom bap sound. I thought you nailed it, man. And those are some of my favorite projects. And so any significance with the album name? So you mentioned your stuff is thematic. I noticed that you have a lot of Japanese influence in the artwork and album titles. Do you have a fascination with Japan or just
Absolutely.
okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and unfortunately, I've not managed to make the trip out there yet. And again, through Instagram, I have people out there that are like, bro, you need to come. You need
Oh,
to come.
dude, man.
I, Japan and Cali in particular, I've met so many people through Instagram and they're like, bro, you need to come, get out here. You've got a place to stay. We can get you shows. Just get yourself out. And I just haven't managed to make the trips yet. It's
One
coming, bro.
day.
It's gonna happen one day.
I
But yeah,
know.
I the whole like being obsessed with Japanese culture, it just like the first time I watched Shogun Assassin,
Yeah.
bro. And ever since I watched that movie, I've just been crazy on samurai flicks ever since.
Yeah.
And not just like the old stuff, like new samurai flicks as well. Like just and then when you start going down that route, you start getting into Japanese directors like Akira Kurosawa movies
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And yeah, like it's just a dope place, bro, that really resonates with me. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Hey, and I know you're a fan of music and you will be for life, man. You just you did it at a young age, went to university for it. And I know you do music just out of purely love, man, and just spreading the music. And is it crazy to think about your global reach, dude, and just your global fan base, dude? You got an amazing fan base, man. But does it sometimes just just amaze you at just how far your music is spread and
absolutely. I think
man,
the first time I really like realized how far it had actually spread is when I think I'd got access to my Spotify for artists after
right?
Shuriken had dropped. because when Shurikens dropped, like you could only get
No,
access to it if you released through a label that had, you know, a digital distributor. It was
right.
before, okay, well, where everybody could get on Spotify, and so I got access to it, and you start reading the stats, and you're like,
Yeah.
Cali,
The number of
Toronto,
countries and
Bogota,
yeah.
Colombia. You're like, what the hell is going on? Who are these people from all over the globe listening to my music? It's
Nice.
crazy, crazy,
Yeah.
bro.
Oh, dude, it's amazing, man. And I'm sure millions of hits on whatever platform it's posting. But man, yeah, it's pretty amazing feat, man. And so, yeah, no, I think it's great, man. That's one thing that's great about the internet, man. Your reach is super far. And hey, man, I think you're right, man. Any of those places that you visit, man, tons of people want to hear you play, man. So I hope you get to make it a reality one day, man.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure. Do you do any radio too at all, or is it mostly just shows?
Just shows, really, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff that we've been doing with Lords of the North has been getting some good radio play over here. There's a really good radio show called, it's part of the BBC network. It's called BBC
Oh,
Introducing, where unsigned
super
acts
cool.
can upload their music, and you know it get the tracks get screened and stuff. And if you get selected, you get, you know, you get quite decent exposure. So
Nice.
yeah, a couple of the bits. In fact, no, every single that we've done under Lords of the North has been selected for BBC Introducing,
Oh man.
which has been really cool. You know, that's actually something that I've not been able to achieve on my own as somebody that makes instrumental music on, you know, mostly. But yeah, now we've connected with the MCs and stuff. We've been able to, you know, start getting that radio play.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I had a couple of bits played on BBC Six Music as well.
Oh,
But
cool.
apart from that, just like local radio stations and stuff like
Yeah.
Reform Radio and Unity Radio have always, you know, played the stuff.
Yeah. Well, I know it hits the underground radio stations all over the world. So super cool. Just curious on the local scene. And hey man, I'm very thankful that we had the opportunity to put out a project too as well in 2021. That was super fun, man. I'm glad that we got to connect and that we get some more stuff coming. But man, you have a very eclectic sound, man. And so if you had to describe your sound to somebody in a few words, what would you say? Always difficult, man.
I don't know. I'm just at the end of the day, I'm just deep down inside, I'm still just a kid that's just trying to make something that sounds like that it was
Hmm.
made in someone's basement on a 4-track, do you know what I mean? And some, you know, with a
Yeah.
dusty crate of records, and it just, you know, yeah, like I'm not the kind of guy that's trying to make stuff that sound too polished or anything like that. If
Yeah,
anything, I'm
yeah,
trying to make it sound dirtier.
dude. Man, I love it, man. But then you flex your ability to be very versatile, man. You put out an album called Hybrid Dialects in 2023, and man, that was different, man. What made you try and jump into something different like that? That was different than what I was used to.
I think uh, part of it was one of the scratch DJs that comes to working on it and is heavily involved in working on it. Static, who's an IDA scratch champion and stuff. We were linking up, and he was doing some cuts for a few bits and stuff. And this one particular time he came through and he played me some stuff by a duo called Shades, which is made up of a guy called Alex Perez, who's like big on the drum and bass scene, and a guy called
Yeah.
Eprom. You know Eprom? You might have heard of Eprom, maybe. I think Eprom was like heavily involved in like the brain feeder stuff and the low end theory scene out
Okay.
in LA and stuff.
Yep.
And like it was just crazy hearing this, like these drum and bass style bass lines, but then like these hip hop beats, and it was just hard. So that was the first thing. And then like one of the beautiful things that came out of working on it is I actually got to meet a hero of mine, like a local hero, Peter Parker from Finger Thing, and like getting hit to
Wow.
hear him. And he came and played at working on it. I'm like, yo, bro, I remember coming watching you when I was like 16 years old, and you was
Oh
like playing
man.
at the Ritz and stuff. And I was like in the audience, and now you're coming playing my event and stuff. And it's like, and just hearing him come and play his shit and stuff, it's like, yeah, this is, you know, the kind of stuff I need to be making. I need to try.
Yeah.
And he really just came from that. And again, he's like a DMC. He was a DMC champion back in the day and
Man.
stuff. Yeah, it was just like when you listen to like the kind of beats that those guys were cutting over, it was
Yeah.
like that very electronic bass lines and but still like, you know, hard hitting drums at a hip hop boom bap tempo. And it just, yeah, it just sounded dope. And I was like, yo, I gotta try and make something like that.
Yeah, and I thought it was great,
And
man. And it was a good show and showing for me that yeah, you're not afraid to try new things and just and just make yourself even better, man. So I thought you killed it, man. So
oh,
that was
thank you.
great, man.
Respect, bro. I appreciate
Yeah,
it, man.
man, and still putting out stuff, man. I enjoyed that single that you released with Cancel Culture, the Kuartz remix, also as well. And what was the story behind that? Anything cool behind that? It's a cool song, man.
We're working on it again, bro. So the
Oh,
label that went out on, one of the guy who runs that label was coming down and performed it, like I think it was the second working on it we ever did, and he came through and he was like, "Yo, I'm doing this album with this guy, Cancel Culture. Do you want to do some remixes?" I was like, "Yeah, of course, bro. I'll do some remixes. Send me the acapellas."
damn, that's awesome, man. Yeah, great release that folks need to check out, man. And just man, I just love, man, that you're a busybody, and again, even more so since you're about giving people a platform to showcase their music. And so you've been doing it a lot. You've been doing it for a long time, and we're adulting. We got work, family, and just doing adult things. But what motivates you to keep doing music, man? You know,
Just the it's a personal thing. Like if even if it was just me sat in a room, and
yeah,
I get that, when you get that magic moment and you're like, yo, because I make music for me, bro. I'm not making it for anybody else. I'm making music for me.
man,
You know what I mean, and then if anybody else likes it, that's a bonus, and I love that. But at the end of the day, if I'm sat there and I got the headphones and I'm like, yo, I might make a beat and then, throw it on the phone and I'm on the bus on the way to work and I'm like, yo, this is hitting. Just pure that feeling, bro. Just that
yeah.
feeling alone is why I do it.
Yeah, and I could tell you're a fan of the music too, and it's clear to me that you are a big fan of Jay Dilla as well. And you put out the tribute album for Jay Dilla. So what motivated you and inspired you to do an actual beat tape in tribute of a producer? I know you got a bunch of favorites, but why Jay Dilla in particular?
Jay Dilla just hits different, and the only way I can describe it, there's a clip on the internet with Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Oh,
and it's like it's from like some sort of channel that sends like musicians out to record shops digging and stuff, and then they come back and they talk about what they bought.
nice.
And the only way I can describe how Jay Dilla hits is like so Flea pulls out this record and it's rough draft, and he's like, I love this right here. Like I used to go out hiking out in the redwoods and stuff, and I was listening to this guy called Jay Dilla who just used to like make beats on his drum machine and stuff. And
Whoa.
and Flea just stops and he's bawling, crying, and it was like he can't say anymore. He's like, I just love this guy so much. And that's the only way I can describe how Jay Dilla hits. It's like he just gets into your soul and stirs emotions in people that, are just so heavily buried within
Yeah,
people and can make, even the toughest guys become so vulnerable and feel okay about being vulnerable. And it unlocks that sort of side in people, I think.
wow, man.
It just, yeah, and just if I could even do that to one person in
Yeah,
it with one track ever, I would die a happy man, bro. Because the ability to be able to unlock something emotionally in someone with sound is a gift. It's
yeah.
like a serious gift.
Dude, that's a great way to put it, man. And so, yeah, I love that tape, and I love and I believe you did a tribute show to him too at one of your working on it events
Every
too as well,
February
man.
we do every so February is Dilla month and we do
Yep.
like a Dilla themed event when we do our working on it and working on it, bro. The donut, it's working
Yeah,
on it
that's right.
from the Donuts album. We threw the donut in the logo and stuff.
Yeah,
I think anybody who makes beats is a massive Dilla fan at the end of the day. He's influenced so many people. I know,
absolutely.
the two guys I run working on it with, Mecca 83 and Lone Apostrophe, are massive Dilla fans as
Oh,
well.
nice. Yeah,
Um,
hey, yeah, I think you're right, man. Just the ability to stir emotion in somebody is just yeah, man, it's unbelievable, man. And do you have any other favorite producers that hit you the same way too?
Not that hit the same way,
Okay.
nah. But
Yeah,
in terms of favorite producers, I mean, like, Madlib is
yeah.
crazy. Madlib hits differently. It's not the same like Dilla. It doesn't. Madlib hits in a way where it's like,
Wow. Yeah, 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 yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
Dilla has that as well, but Dilla, like I say, Dilla just has that ability to unlock emotion with you, whereas Madlib, it's just like, oh, yo, he didn't, no way, yo, he flipped what? Oh my God.
That's right. Kind of like
Doom
the
beat,
X Games, but you're right. Dilla does hit differently, and I love how people like make the comparison with New Japanese too. I don't know if you like him at all, but I find him to be pretty cool too, man. The Japanese producer out there, and so they often get compared. But yeah, you're right, man.
yeah, Doom beats again, hit differently, the style of production and stuff. And, again, we was talking about putting the movie skits and the comedy skits in there, and Doom went down the,
Yeah,
sampling the cartoons and stuff. It was like, yo, nah, yo, this is dope. Um, and then, like RZA, of
yeah. Oh,
course,
right. Yeah,
just the sound aesthetically, just had the rawness, the
yeah. The
griminess, like
Dusty. Yeah,
back to what I was saying about, making it sound like it's come off of, producing in a basement and it's come off a 4 track or something. I love what Ninth Wonder as well. A lot of when I do the soul flips and I flip soul music, it's because I've been listening to a lot of Ninth, Apollo
yeah.
Brown. I could go on all day, bro. I could go on all
No,
day.
that's great, man. Man, I love talking shop and music, man. So that's great to hear, man. Especially from a producer with the same with the caliber of yours, man. It's great, man. But yeah, man. So a lot, like I said, man, you spend a lot of time doing music. You got a lot of stuff going on. But what do you like to do for fun outside of making music?
Yeah, I just like to ride my bike, bro.
Yeah.
You got like I bought, yeah, last year I treated myself to it's like this big electric pedal bike, like an e-bike, but it's like got
Nice.
massive wheels on it, and it's like a cruiser type of thing but it's got
Yeah.
like big, like huge BMX handlebars on there, and like a motorcycle seat on there, so it's really comfortable. I just go cruising on that, bro,
I love it, man.
play a lot of, if I go and link up with friends, which is not that often, but I'll play board games like nerdy stuff, I'll play like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons and crazy nerdy stuff like that. I love that kind of shit, bro. Like,
That's
yeah,
awesome,
man.
man.
Yeah, I watch a lot of movies.
Okay.
Yeah. I just like to
Oh,
chill, bro. I like the easy life, the quiet life. Especially now. I'm 38 now. The older I get, I started enjoying my own company a lot more, and just going
yeah.
out on a bike and when the weather's nice, just go for a ride.
Yeah, I got to use that time to decompress too, man. So, yep, I love it, man. Very cool. Well, good, man. Hey, it was awesome, man. I appreciate the deep dive into all the things that you do that make up Quartz. And so, man, yeah, it was just really fun, man. And again, it was honored to get to connect with you. And so, with the interview, I like to close out with just some fun questions and stuff, right? So we'll close up on a fun and good tip, man. All right, for Quartz, man, what is your favorite food? What do you like to eat?
I mean, I'm like a typical British guy that just loves Indian curries and stuff, bro.
All right.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I'm typically British like that. I mean, I like, yeah, Indian food, bro.
Okay. All right. Hey, man, it's clear that you are a Dilla fan. What is your favorite kind of donut?
Oh, do you know what? It's not technically a donut, but you can get them from Tim Hortons. I just love apple fritters, bro. Are
Okay.
you passing that as a donut?
We'll
Yeah,
make an
apple
exception.
fritters, bro.
All right, man. You said you like Phil, man. Who are you going with if you had to choose your favorite actor? Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart? Are we going Magneto or are we going Professor X? UK edition.
Sir Ian McKellen.
Okay. All right. All
Sir Ian
right.
McKellen, bro.
Oh, a Magneto guy, huh?
He grew up not far from here, where I
Oh,
grew up.
okay.
Yeah, he's a local guy. I gotta represent the local
Yeah.
ends, bro.
Cheer for the home team, man. All right. Hey, we talked about your fascination with Japanese culture. Let's see if you have the same fascination with food. If you had to choose between fish and chips or Japanese sushi, what are you choosing?
I'm a vegetarian. I gotta do just the chips, bro.
Okay. All right, good, good. All right, here's a good one. All right. Hey, do you hate that Americans have a sport called football that has nothing to do with their feet?
I don't hate it, bro. And you know what? A lot of and you know what? I'm not even a fan of like British football, and so you know
Okay.
when you guys across the pond call it soccer, it doesn't bother me. But you know, if you talk to the my boys who are into football, you know they're gonna say something if you're calling
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
soccer.
All right, good. A very diplomatic answer. I appreciate it. All right, music fan, like it all. Very eclectic, man. Your favorite Beatles song?
Ooh, in my life.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I'm a hold your hand guy, man. But yeah, hey, Beatles, man. All right. What about One Direction? Favorite One Direction song?
Do you
Or
know
you
what?
just say,
I don't think I could name a One Direction song, but Harry Styles, he has a what's that joint he does that's all right? Is it like watermelon sugar or something like
oh
that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know my daughter knows it for sure, but I do hear it that way. Yeah, hey, not bad,
That's
man.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
You know, it's on in the background. You know, I'm cooking. It might bob my head a little bit.
that's right, man. True music fan. All right, I loved it, man. Hey, well, thanks, man. That's a great way to end the tip. Are there any special projects that you want to talk about before we close this interview?
You know what? For the first time in a long time, I really haven't got anything planned or lined up, bro. And just making beats, just turning out beats, but without, you know, any like working towards anything. Yeah, the new job and moving house and running,
Right.
working on it is just taking up, you know, most of my time. So it's kind of a nice place to be. But you know,
Yeah.
tomorrow something could pop up, but the beats are gonna be there ready for it. So, you know, it's just how
Love
it
it,
is.
man. Yeah, you got a massive catalog that folks need to check out, man. And again, I thank you for the time, man. Just very inspirational. When I heard your stuff, I fell in love, man. I love what you do. And it's amazing to know that you were a music fan and it started way back when you were a kid. You're still doing it for the love. And I love that you create a platform for people to showcase their beats, whether they're beginner level or expert. Man, that's love, man. I really 10 times more respect you after hearing that. So thank you. I look forward to following your musical journey. And so, man, with that, I can't wait to get this interview out. Are there any final words that you want to close with, or tell people where to go to find your music before we end this awesome interview?
It's just Quartz. I'm at Quartz everywhere, you know,
Okay.
Spotify, Instagram. You want to hit me up, you want to, you know, hit me up. You know, I try and get back to everybody. I try to talk to as many people as I can, you know what I mean? I like connecting with new people. So yeah, just shout me, yo.
All day. Well, hey, thanks for your time. I got to give you your Monday back, but hey, I look forward to sharing this interview.
Yo, thank you so much for having me on, bro. I appreciate it, fam.